back at the Supreme Court, the court reaffirmed that it will deliver its final verdict on the 2012 presidential election petition on 29th August. This means that the final verdict will be announced on the 50th day of the presidential election petition hearing. The court said this after it had sought clarification from the counsels of the petitioners and the respondents on their oral and written addresses.
It is 49 days since the court started hearing the presidential election petition. The 49-day journey had not been easy but eventful. Though not planned, the final verdict is likely to be announced on the 50th day since hearing began. Today saw the bench reaching out to the bar for oral clarification on their written addresses. First to be heard was the lead counsel for petitioners, Mr. Philip Addison. The president of the court, Justice William Atuguba, asked him to explain further about the number of pink sheets which they relied on and were being challenged by the respondent.
They said that the pink sheets you have relied on in support of your case have fluctuated back and forth.
My Lord, the original number of polling stations that the petitioners were relying on was 11,842. These polling stations were fully set out in the further and better particulars, together with the various infractions, so that each polling station was identified together with its infraction in the further and better particulars. Subsequent to that, there has been various reductions. First, the 704 that the petitioners voluntarily deleted. And then down the line, after various reviews, the petitioners decided not to rely on some of these pink sheets. And eventually, it came down to 10,119 polling stations.
Next to throw more light on the addresses was the counsel for second respondent, Mr. James Kwashi Aiden. He was asked to explain why he buttressed the argument with some sections of the law that seemed to be conflicted.
It appears that from what you have put down, your submission is that that provision, even though it relates to the High Court, should apply mutatis mutandis to all other elections, including the presidential.
That is correct, my Lord.
Now, but 1 and 2, that the election was conducted in accordance with this act and regulations. And then 2, that the failure did not affect the result of the elections. I mean, the two seem to be quarreling.
My Lord, I don't know whether the beginning of the words in subsection 2,
yes,
which perhaps I did not quote.
Yes, I doubted whether this was a full...
Despite subsection 1.
Despite subsection 1?
Yes, those are the words. Despite subsection 1.
Okay.
Yeah. Subsection 1, do I need to read it, my Lord?
No, if it says despite, which is not here,
that is
well, you are sure there is not a hope.
The biometric verification was another area that the judges asked the counsel for the first respondent, Mr. Tonilita, to expatiate upon.
The first leg of the argument then is that being the case, when the person has been conclusively identified as being qualified to vote, from that point on, his constitutional right to vote kicks in. And therefore, to the extent that there are further processes after the clear identification, we seek to deprive him of that right. Those processes, in my view, even if it's spelled out in subsidiary legislation, will be unconstitutional.
The point on retroactive penalization was key when the counsel for the third respondent, Mr. Chachuchi Kata, took his turn.
There is nowhere in the Constitution where Article 49 can be said to lead to an annulment of a vote. There's nowhere. And the submission about retroactive penalization was part of our justification for not interpreting Article 49 in a manner that would have that effect.
Today, all the 9-member panel of judges were not in their usual robes, as well as the lawyers representing the parties. However, Mr. Philip Addison was the only one who was in his legal robe. Upon inquiry, we were told that the absence of the robe indicated that the court is on legal vacation. To this end, they can choose to be less formal, but have to be in suit and tie. The legal vacation starts from 31st July to October 1st.